All right. So today we are going to start the next topic. We are getting into the next module, which is called arithmetic operations. We will learn very fundamental stuff here. At the same time, we are going to elevate to the next level where we will understand the design and the workflow of all the arithmetic operations that we have been doing all this time with MIPS. It's very important and very fundamental too. Before we start, there are some questions that are to be raised and to be asked. We need to find out answer for all this stuff by the time we complete this topic discussion. Computer words are composed of bits. We know everything is bits here, and we are going to play around with bits and binary numbers. Even here, it is no different. We are going to take completely the binary and the bits only. We are going to deal with digits only, and it's going to be 100% binary. But we need to understand some other things which are closely connected to it, and it's all binary is obvious. But why binary? Why did we zero in there, and what kind of representations do we need to learn? All these are the questions which are to be answered step by step. Let me ask questions one by one. How are negative numbers represented? This is the first question. How are they represented? How were they represented in the earliest stages? How are they represented now, and how? Right. What is the largest number that can be represented in a computer word? Anybody can answer this question? Depends on the architecture is one answer, but we need to really think about what is the largest number that can be represented. Now, what happens if an operation creates a number which is bigger than the computer can hold it, which is bigger than the representation that it can allow? What is it called as? It's called overflow, and how are we going to handle it? What about the fractions and real numbers? We need to handle the fractions as well as the real numbers. We asked 4 questions, and all these 4 questions are to be answered step by step, and we will get into a conclusion like why we are zeroing in into the methods that we are following right now. What is the model that we have followed earlier, and why did we get into the new approach? This is what is the entire story all about, and this entire section and the discussion is all going to revolve around math. It's going to be fundamental math, and we'll have a discussion on math alone, and we will learn and we will enjoy it. Right. The question that needs to be asked finally: how does the hardware really multiply or divide numbers? We are doing a lot of multiplication operation. We are doing a lot of divide operations, modulo operations. How are they going to do it? We need to understand the way the numbers are treated, the way the algorithms are handled, and that's why we need to go with the fundamental math, and we are going to learn it. Do you remember this? This is the fundamental math that we have learned in schools. If you see that 1011 base 2, how are we going to find out what is the value here? To me, I will simply calculate it as 8421, and 8 into 1, 2 into 1, 1 into 1. 11 I would say easily, and it is base 10. But technically speaking, how do we get the procedure? We need to write it this way, where we need to take 1 into 2 to the power of 3, 0 into 2 to the power of 2, 1 into 2 to the power of 1, and 1 into 2 to the power of 0. So it starts all the way from here to there, and 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of 1, 2, and 2 to the power of 3. So that's what I called as 8421, and I got the result. Now what is this? This is a simple representation where the binary has been converted to base 10 representation. This is very fundamental math, and I hope I need not spend time on this particular topic, and I can move to the next one. Now, for people who forgot or who keeps forgetting where is MSB located and where is LSB located, remember this is the MSB most significant, and this is the least significant. Always 0th bit will be recognized as LSB, and the last bit is represented as MSB. Remember it. Now the question is very simple: why the concept of MSB and the LSB came into picture? Sir, why do we really have to bother about MSB and LSB, sir? Why do we need to know that which is MSB, which is LSB, and why needed it is? It's not required, right? The question is very obvious, and it's a correct question. Now let me write something. I'm going to convert, say, 14 or 13. Let me take 13 in decimal and let me write it into binary. So in 8421 code, if I write it, 1, 1, 1. So if you see that 8, 4, 12, 12 plus 1, 13. So now 1101 is the number that I have in hand. Okay, that's the representation. Now how and all can we write it if there is no representation called as LSB and MSB available? I can write 101101 like this from left to right. I can write this way 1101. I request people to go on mute. I can write this way. I can write this way 1101. I can write this way 1101. I can even write this way. I can write this way. So there are n number of ways that I can write a number, and there is the problem. So if I write it in this way, and if I ask you to interpret, if you are interpreting in this way, that's going to be a wrong number. 13 will become something else. So here if you calculate this, this is going to be a different value. But what actually I sent is 13, and what you actually read is 8 plus 2, 10, 11. So the values are totally changing. So we need a solid representation which is going to be globally followed. So that's the reason we are getting into the number representation as MSB and LSB, and that's how we got MSB and LSB into picture. Remember, the rightmost bit in an MIPS word is called the least significant bit. The leftmost bit in MIPS word is called as the most significant bit. Please do not be unclear about it. This is to be very clear, and this is an interview question. Why do we need to have LSB and MSB all the way learned? We need to do that because we need to have a common pattern. Now when we start writing it, we can start writing 32 bits in this way. 0 base 10 will be represented as this way. You can see that there are 32 zeros out here. I mean, you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 4. 8 4s are 32 is there. So that's the way you can represent it. And the maximum number which can be represented is this. I do not know how to read it. 429496729 base 10 is the maximum number that we can represent with 32 bits. So this is the representation that we need to follow with MSB and LSB being properly respected. The reason for us to go with MSB and LSB is clearly explained in this particular slide, and I hope I have made it clear as well. Now, there is next question. Sir, why binary is not easy for us, sir? Why cannot I learn everything in binary? Why do we have to go with base 10? If you remember your schooling days, your teachers, your school teachers, primary teachers particularly, would have taught you number systems. And they would have immediately told you, take your fingers, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and add 3 from the right fingers, take 5 from the left fingers, and 5 plus 3 is 8. They will also use you to use the fingers in your legs. So that's the way we are trained. So naturally, since we have 10 fingers in the hands and legs, we are trained that way right from the beginning. Base 10 is always easy for us, and base 2 is not natural because base 2 needs calculation and conversion. That's the reason base 2 is not easy and base 10 is very easy for us because we are naturally connected to it. But sir, it all started with binary itself when the computers were invented? No. There were computers which did offer decimal arithmetic. Yes, it also happened. There are computers where completely decimal arithmetic were supported, but it was a huge failure. End of the day, the decimal was to be converted internally as binary, and there are a lot of computations involved, and hence they reverted the entire stuff to binary without having any decimal arithmetic as the direct option. So it was also there. Now remember, another thing is to be understood. You can see that here there is a cup which has got water, and I pour more water, it is overflowing. That's the reason I kept this picture. It's a overflow. So what is this? Very simple. Whenever you write a number, the number in MIPS for example is 32 bits. You are writing just for example 10. 10 when I convert to binary it will be 8421. So it is 1010. Now when I do that, 1010 is done. But what you see is only this. What are the left out things in this? There are multiple zeros which are left out. So I can add literally 28 zeros here like this, and it will go on. Likewise, when you see whatever number you are reading is not just a complete number, and it is actually missed. We are not having the complete representation there. We don't just show the leading zeros, and leading zeros are kind of missed. You need to be careful about it. So whenever you think of a number, it is just not the final value in MIPS and any other representation which you take based on the number of bits supported, it becomes the preceding zeros included into it. We need to have the preceding zeros definitely included there in the picture, without which it is going to be a problem. Now what are we going to do? I am going to add 8-bit number plus another 8-bit number, and this 8-bit number for example is 10001. Here it is also 0001. Now when I add these two, what I get is a reply that can be fitted into this basket. This basket is also 8 bits. Now this is the register where I am going to store the result, and it is all fine. And the computation power, the processor also has got the power to understand this value and this value, and it can get you the result as appropriately as it has to give you. But now what happens is, what I'm going to have is, I'm going to have 1111 FFF. The FF is the full value here, and another FF is there. When I add these two, what will happen? The processor which is going to handle it will not have any idea as in what do we do with this two biggest values that I am taking in, because it does not have the capacity to calculate. It will not understand and it cannot do the result. It cannot give the justification with the right result to you. So what it will do, it cannot also throw an error saying sorry, you have given a wrong value. So what will happen? It will overflow. I used to give you a lot of examples with respect to food. I'm going to take the same example now. I have capacity to hold two idlis in my hand. You are pouring, you are keeping the third and the fourth idli in my right and left hands respectively. Now what will happen? It will spill out. Very simple. That's called overflow. I do not have the capacity to tell you that don't keep me, don't flood me with idlis. But I can tell you that through spilling it out, I can tell you that no, I cannot hold. That's exactly what is overflow, and we have seen enough of it in the previous semester as well. What exactly is overflow? I'm just giving you an introduction in today's session. We will go ahead and learn a lot of math, fundamental math, as well as the design, the flow, everything in the next session as well. Now, how do we calculate the positive, or how do we understand the positive and the negative sign? This is the next question that we need to post to ourselves. Now, the obvious choice that we have all these days, from the childhood we are taught, right? So we are used to normally the method like 18, if it is positive, I can put a plus, and plus is obvious, so you do not have to put. Otherwise, we will put a minus and we will say it is minus 18. So we represent it with the symbols plus and minus, and this is the most obvious approach that we have been following right from the childhood. But how do the computers do it? How do the computers really learn it? That's the point. How can the computers represent this plus and minus? I need to understand the sign as well as I need to understand the magnitude. Can we have the separate sign like plus and minus specifically made available for the computer? And can we have anything that is more than this, or is it acceptable approach? That's what we are going to learn. Now, is it very easy to follow the sign? Is it very easy to put the sign? Earlier days, what happened is, when I have a number, say positive or negative, for example, I have minus 18. They had a confusion as in where to put this negative. The symbol minus, it can go here or here. There were computers which used this way, and there were computers used this way. There were a lot of confusions in this regard, right? And we need to also understand what is the magnitude. So we additionally need a step to understand how do we use this sign and how do we derive the magnitude. So there were lot of shortcomings in this approach of including the sign plus or minus or whatever, and to represent the magnitude also very clearly. And then they soon went on abandoning this approach of including the negative and the positive symbols with respect to the processor. So, what is the final solution? The final solution, sir, is there no solution available for this, sir? Can we not represent anything out this way? Can we not have the positives and negatives clearly represented? That's not the answer. The answer is available and we have been already following it. And the final answer is to make the hardware simple. I should not complicate anything with the hardware. And what I need to do is I need to tweak the available results. I need to make sure that whatever is available, I should be okay with it, and I should tweak it to meet the requirements. So what is it? Very simple. The leading zero, the first bit, if I have 0 in signed arithmetic, it becomes positive. The first bit, if it is 1, it becomes negative. That's the way they finally conclude. And in 8051 in the embedded systems, when I taught you, we use this approach of the signed numbers, and where I taught you the first bit, when it is 0, it is becoming positive. The first bit, if it is negative, it will be represented by a 1. Can we recollect it once? I'm going to do a small sort of recollection exercise that we have done with 8051. I'm taking the same example. I think I have taught you this also earlier. The D7 bit, which is nothing but MSB, when we go with the signed arithmetic, that D7th bit alone is called as the sign bit, and rest alone will represent the magnitude of the number. And D7, when it is 0, it becomes positive. D7, when it becomes 1, it becomes negative. The positive numbers will range from 0 to plus 127, and we have seen that the negative goes on till minus 128. We have learned this in the previous semester, and what I am telling you is this is just a recap. So if you have any questions, you can ask me at the end of the session. I will clarify that as well. But let's do small math where we are going to convert minus 34h. I'm going to represent minus 34 in the appropriate format. How do we do that? Very simple. Let's take 34 right away. I'm taking 34. So 34, when you convert, what will happen? Very simple. 3 is 0 0 1 1. 4 is 0 1 0 0. 8 4 2 1. 8 4 2 1. That's all right. Now what do we do? The first step is to invert all the bits, which means find the complement for all the bits. Let's find out. 1 1 0 1 0 0 1 1. It is complemented. Now what do? We will add 1 to it. That's all. Adding 1 to it will get you 1 1. This will become 0 0, and again this will become 1 0 0. That's all. So the value in 2's complement for the normal representation here is CC. That's how we take and we represent. So please understand, the negative number representation in 2's complement can be done easily. I need to take 1's complement and add 1 to it, and I get the result. That's it. So please understand, the signed arithmetic is the solution for all the havocs and the problems that we faced with respect to representing the digits with which sign it is. What kind of arithmetic is it? Is it positive or negative? That's what we have been learning here. And the last bit, the D7th bit, gave us the solution. It being 0 is positive, it being 1 is negative. That's all. Please remember that, and you have a lot of examples here in the slide. I'll share the slide also through Pavitra so that you can understand all of this very clearly. You can see that minus 128, all the first bits here for the negatives are 1, and for all the positives it is all 0 here. That's it. You can try converting few numbers as well for you to understand a little more clearer. Now, what are we going to learn here with respect to MIPS, sir? MIPS has offered you a clear set of instructions. MIPS has made it very distinct. Okay, so MIPS has given you an option to go ahead with signed arithmetic and unsigned arithmetic. So for example, it has given instruction like SLT. SLT is set on less than, and SLTI is set on less than immediate. Now what MIPS has done is, for working with signed arithmetic you use this. When you go with unsigned arithmetic, you use SLTU and SLTIU. So these kind of approaches have been introduced in MIPS. Now remember, SLT has become SLTU and SLTI has become SLTIU. The U represents unsigned arithmetic. So whenever you take MIPS, if at all you are going to use the operations which are going to be unsigned, check the data sheet. If there is a support like what has been provided for set on less than, for unsigned and signed arithmetic, pick it up appropriately and use it. So there can be a question to you in the quiz. SLT can be used for unsigned operation, true or false? Or what is the instruction that can be used for unsigned arithmetic towards using set on less than? So you need to say that set on less than unsigned. So likewise, we have instruction support available, and you need to have a mild look into it. So tomorrow what we are going to learn is, I am going to teach you how exactly the negation shortcut, the addition, subtraction, the previous one. This is all very fundamental, and then I will go ahead with the overflow and the multiplication. Then I'll talk about the hardware inclusion for all this process to be completed, and it will take a couple of more hours for us to complete all this. And once done, we'll have an evaluation on this. We'll have a quiz and all those stuff on this. Till now, whatever I have taught you is very fundamental, and I will share you this slide by probably in another 15-20 minutes time frame after I could edit it. I'll share this through the representatives. And till now, if you have any questions, you can ask me, but otherwise, we are all set to go.